Daniel had grown up knowing one rule about his family's land. The basin was supposed to stay empty. It wasn't a park. It wasn't spare land. It was the neighborhood's last line of defense against floodwater. His father had warned him about the basin years ago. Whenever heavy rain came, that low ground was designed to collect the water before it could reach the homes. Then the HOA arrived with an ambitious development proposal. They promised everyone that the engineering had been reviewed and that the basin could safely support new construction. Daniel watched as one house became 10, then 20, then dozens. By the time construction was nearly finished, the HOA had approved 86 homes inside the very basin his family had protected for generations. Daniel brought the old drainage maps to the HOA meeting. He pointed directly at the new homes and asked one simple question. Where's the water supposed to go now? Linda told him the engineers had accounted for everything. She smiled and said the new drainage improvements were more than enough. For a while, Linda appeared to be right. The neighborhood looked perfect, and nobody wanted to believe that something hidden beneath the landscaping could become a disaster. Then Daniel saw the forecast. A major storm system was moving toward the county, and the rainfall totals were far beyond an ordinary summer storm. The rain started before midnight and never really stopped. By sunrise, Daniel could already see water collecting where the old basin used to spread out. The basin was filling exactly as Daniel had predicted, but now there were houses sitting where the water had once been designed to spread. Within hours, the first streets disappeared beneath the water. Neighbors started calling one another, realizing this wasn't the ordinary flooding the HOA had promised them. For the first time, Linda stopped looking confident. She stared across the flooded neighborhood and realized the water was moving exactly toward the development she had approved. Daniel headed toward the old control structure. His family had maintained records showing how the basin normally released water during extreme storms. The problem was obvious. The original system was receiving far more runoff than it had been designed to handle after the basin was filled with houses and paved surfaces. Daniel immediately contacted the county emergency response team. He wasn't trying to prove the HOA wrong anymore. He just wanted the neighborhood protected. As the water continued rising, emergency crews moved residents towards safer ground. Daniel and Emily stayed with their neighbors, helping wherever they could. Soon, streets became waterways. Rescue boats moved between houses while residents watched from elevated porches and upper floors. From above, the mistake became impossible to ignore. 86 homes now occupied the space that had once absorbed the stormwater. Linda finally asked Daniel what he had known all along. Daniel simply opened the old map and showed her exactly where the original water line had been. The old map showed the basin extending across the entire new development. There was no mystery anymore. The water was simply reclaiming the land it had always occupied. County engineers arrived and began documenting the flooding. They compared the original drainage plans with the new development and quickly understood why the system had been overwhelmed. After the storm finally moved away, the water began to retreat. What it left behind was a neighborhood that looked completely different from the one people had entered. The cleanup took days. Daniel kept reminding everyone that the real question wasn't who was to blame. It was how they would prevent the next storm from becoming worse. The HOA called an emergency meeting. This time, nobody laughed when Daniel placed the original basin map on the table. Instead of arguing, the community finally started planning. The new proposal focused on restoring water storage capacity and creating safer drainage routes before the next major storm. Over the following months, crews began restoring parts of the original basin. The goal was simple: give stormwater somewhere safe to go again. The neighborhood slowly recovered. This time, the basin wasn't treated as wasted land. It was recognized as a protection system it had always been. Daniel stood at the edge of the restored basin and remembered his father's warning. Some land looks empty because it is doing a job people don't notice until they need it. The 86 homes were still there, but the community had finally learned the lesson the basin had been trying to teach them. You don't defeat nature by ignoring it. You plan around it. And that was the day the entire community finally understood why Daniel's family had protected that basin for so long. If you enjoyed the story, like and subscribe, and tell me in the comments, where are you watching from?